watching the dogs fight.
All right, let's watch the dogs fight. Hello, welcome to Sutton Impact Family Style. I think episode 372. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and let's start off talking about Dan Harley staying at UConn
Yeah, turned down
and turning down. What he
12,
turned down 70 million.
six. I think 5 years, 60 million, so 12 million a year, 5 years. And if you
Yeah,
listen to Woj basically said that Palinka told him, "We want you here for the long term. We're viewing this as a culture change. You're going to be a culture setter. We want you to improve our young players." So he was trying to emphasize we're not looking you to win a championship with this team, or we're going to fire you. So he had a lot going. It sounded like the Lakers made a real good offer.
I think they made a real good offer. I just don't think, there's certain people that could move from the East Coast to the West Coast and thrive. I just don't think he's that guy. And
No,
like I said, you off before we started the show, if it would have been the Knicks, I think he takes the job because he still wants to coach in the NBA, and he's made no secret about that. This just wasn't the right NBA job.
and
And to me, the right NBA job is going to be on the East Coast.
and he has a chance for a three-peat that hasn't been done since Wooden with one of the best programs in the country, in UConn, right?
Yep.
And by turning down the Lakers job, he got a couple of things. He got free chicken wings from Life from a bar in Connecticut, and they confirmed that they will give him free chicken wings for life, which is pretty cool. And to quote Callan Cowherd, who I thought had a great take on this, he's like, "When you already are happy, be happy. Don't try to chase different happy." And he's like, you're an East Coast guy. Your family's East Coast. Your wife's East Coast. You grew up in Jersey. You love your job. Your family's happy. Is this a move you need to make right now? And I think that's probably good advice for most people, right?
Yeah, but I have to admit, I was surprised, and here's why I was surprised. I thought with the latest changes in the NCAA, I thought this guy's not going to want to deal with that. And so I was surprised when he didn't take it.
Well, do you want to put on your Chad Johnson, Kendrick Perkins, Gilbert Arenas tinfoil hat for a second?
Sure.
There's the rumor amongst some of the, I guess, fringier NBA people saying that this was a move to get Dan Hurley a little bit of publicity, a raise from UConn, but he never really wanted this job. They didn't really want to give it to him. This is a way to bring JJ in with less pressure on JJ, which it's probably not true. I think they did want Hurley, but
I think they wanted Hurley too.
it's
But
it's a,
I agree. It does give Redick a little air cover.
it does, and Lakers can be like, look, we went out and tried to get the best college coach, around, the winner of the last two national championships. We offered him all this stuff, and he said no. And now we're going to, now we're screened, and we have to find somebody else, and now we're going to go with our second or third choice, JJ Redick, and who they said was going to be the next Pat Riley. So, but yeah, it's interesting.
I I think JJ has a chance to be successful with that group. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they can do with the 27 and 29 pick, and whether it's D'Angelo Russell's expiring contract or they throw in Reeves, but you hear all the rumors of the two Atlanta Hawks guards who I don't think changed their fortune that much, right? And or potentially Donovan Mitchell, but I don't know if Cleveland would make that trade because it doesn't make a lot of sense for Cleveland, right? It's not very much
Right.
value to get 2 first-round picks for Donovan Mitchell. Doesn't seem like a lot of value. I, Oklahoma City's getting better. Dallas, despite, and we're going to talk about them next, I don't think they're going away. I think the Nuggets are going to revamp a little bit, and I think Jokic and those guys are going to be ready. I don't think you're going to ever get away from Anthony Edwards for the next 10 years. And, and then you have your old heads in, Phoenix and the Wembanyama coming up, Golden State revamping. I don't know if this Lakers team, I don't know if there's any move they can make that would make them a top 5 team in the West. Certainly not a top 4 team in the West in my book. So,
No, I agree with you. And since you mentioned Phoenix, I just don't see Phoenix in that spot either.
no, I don't know. I mean, but I think any team that has, Booker and Durant and an owner willing to spend a bazillion dollars, you can't completely, some form of the Phoenix Golden State Los Angeles Clippers, like all those old teams, like there's some form of one of those teams that could be good. And we talked a little bit before we got on, and Anthony Davis has played more last season than he's played ever, and LeBron is he's uncharted territory every time he walks onto the court. Outside of Tom Brady and I guess Bobby Orr, the only two I could think of, as far as like these kind of sports to be that old and still competing at this level, it just doesn't happen. And LeBron does seem like an alien, but at some point, we're gonna see somewhere, and the game is gonna change for him, right?
I would think.
Yeah. So I think that's, like I said, I just think it's a tough position to come into because everything you have is in this team now that I don't think is good enough to win. You're going to throw away, you'll have almost no first round picks or first round swaps till like 2030 to bring in new players. So I don't really know where you go from here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that circumstance, but again, it's the Lakers.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to say, what can happen?
What can happen? Well, the two teams competing for the chip this year, Celtics are up 2-0.
And I pick Dallas, so I'm staying consistent in that whoever I pick is the kiss of death.
But as people point out, in the finals, the series doesn't start until somebody loses on their home court. So you're still in it as far as that goes. But it seems like it's a really bad matchup. The Celtics are really good on defense, and they have the kind of defenders that can guard Kyrie and Luka to some extent. You know who Luka reminds me of, Dad?
Who?
And our audience will appreciate me bringing the Steelers into it this early. He's got kind of a Roethlisberger quality to him, where if he's got a limp, you're going to know he has a limp. Like he seems like he's moving around a little slower this game. I think he lets you know when he's hurt, and when he's playing well, he's never hurt, and when he is hurt, he'll let you know that if they're not playing well, he'll let you. But I mean, he had a triple-double last night, and there's just no help. And Jason Tatum.
I mean, they've taken the lob game away.
Yeah.
And that was exactly what beat Minnesota.
And P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford can't hit a corner three anymore. Which is odd. But like I said, Drew Holiday, White, Tatum, and Brown can all guard the two best players, and they're all elite athlete defenders. And not that you're going to stop Luka, you're not going to stop Kyrie entirely, but they make them work, Mm-hmm. And Horford's still a good defender. Porzingis is a good defender. Like, it just... Player after player, they're just really good.
It's hard to imagine Dallas winning 4 out of the next 5.
It's very hard, based on what we've seen. And Tatum has played pretty terrible, I think, in the first 2 games, at least offensively. And, and I think I saw the stats, like the Celtics were the biggest, win by the three-pointer, and they only made 6 last night. Didn't play that well and still won that game pretty easily.
Both teams were horrible from the three-point line.
Yeah, very awful.
At one point in time, the Celtics were like 6 for 28, and I think Dallas was 5 for 24.
Yeah. And as we discussed, right now, if the finals ended today, Drew Holiday, who the Bucks traded away to Portland to get Dame and then ended up in Boston, would be the MVP of the finals. And he would be a 2-time champion, and the Bucks would be sitting back home again watching him do it. So...
Yeah. But again, it's all about chemistry and fit.
Yeah, it is.
And he's the perfect player to come in there and fit into that team.
He is. And we'll see moving forward, yeah. But, yeah. It's pretty interesting. But like you said, interesting. I actually finished, I turned the game on in the second half and watched the second half last night. I was intrigued because it was close for the third quarter. And it was even close into the fourth quarter, but then all of a sudden, Boston was able to do what they did, and Kyrie didn't play well, and none of the supporting cast played well. Luka's still with that turnaround shot is just ridiculous. Yeah. If I were to give you odds and you had to bet a sweep or the series goes 7, what do you think would be more likely?
a sweep or it goes 7.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go 7. So I would say of those two options, a sweep is more likely. I think it's
5.
I think Dallas wins one of the next 2.
I do too, and I think Boston wins on the home
Boston
court.
closes it out at home.
Yeah, that's what I think too. It's a bummer that it's going to be this way, but like we said, it's just matchups. Like there's certain matchups that would have worked out for either team, and this is just the worst matchup for Dallas.
Agreed. And I just thought that the way Dallas was playing, that they were going to be unstoppable. So I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, like I didn't think the supporting cast. I mean, they always say that when you're on the road, the supporting. I mean, Charles and Shaq talk about it all the time. Like some of the supporting guys sort of disappear. They've all disappeared completely,
Yeah.
and they have not figured out a way to get their lob game going, and they have not figured out a way to get the threes falling. And Kyrie has just been, after all the praise he's been getting all the playoffs, he's looked pretty bad.
I think it was tough for him to go to play in Boston. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah.
But I agree. And they need him. I mean, they need him desperately.
I think they do. But, I mean, these are both two very young teams, so they could be in the mix for a while now. So,
Yeah.
you want to finish up basketball with WNBA Olympic talk?
Yeah, let's talk about that. I don't think Caitlin Clark deserved the spot on the Olympic team. And I think to put her on would have been kowtowing to the marketing aspects, which I don't think is wrong either.
No.
But I think that no rookies are on that team. It's a pretty established team that's played together. If you were going to make a case, I mean, Diana Taurasi playing in her 6th Olympics is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would have rather had Caitlin Clark on the team than her. But if you're not going to play Caitlin Clark, you're going to be under a mic. If you have Caitlin Clark on the team, you're under a microscope. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
So I think that's an issue here, and so I don't have a problem with it. And I think that the next Olympics, given their normal progression as players, a lot of the people that were in this draft that are the ones that the WNBA fans are excited about would be on the Olympic team, and it would be in LA. But like you pointed out, we talked offline, there's no guarantee. I mean, somebody could have a crippling knee injury and not be there in 4 years, or somebody just flames out and doesn't play well, or whatever.
Or the interest is at an all-time high, right? From the media, from the fans, and a lot of it is Caitlin Clark. Like I said, she reminds me of Tiger Woods, where it just became people that never cared about golf before now had a favorite golfer, and they watch golf. And golf never really had a Tiger before Tiger, and they'll probably never have a Tiger after Tiger. And I saw the Christine Brennan, who covers women's basketball for the last, 25, 30 years. And she pointed out, she's like, I cover the Olympics every time. She's like, it's me, it's Bob Bryan, and 3 other people. And she's like, there's just not people covering the women's game. She's like, you've got this, this shooting star right now. And you should be capitalizing on this moment completely. And she said, she's like, yeah, there'll probably be some stupid internet people complaining she's not playing enough, but they'll get excited. They'll find other players they like, and this is your moment, and just cash in on the moment and just ride the wave, because, you don't know when the wave is going to come down, or when, who knows what sport will be popular in 4 years, or what celebrity or what player will be, the next, we might have a women's professional flag football league, and they'll have a female Patrick Mahomes by that point, and no one will care about Caitlin Clark. So, I don't know. I mean, like you said, she doesn't, you could argue she does not deserve to be on the team. I know their coach sent the message that the league is on notice now. But, yeah. I just think if you got this lightning in a bottle, just ride it all the way, and then, because she's only benefiting the other players. Like, she would bring more attention to the women's and the national Olympic team than she wouldn't. So, but it is what it is.
You want your Steeler moment now?
I suppose we should take our Steeler moment and congratulate Tomlin, who has not been everybody's favorite coach, but he has a 3-year...
a 3-year deal, right?
A 3-year deal to 2027. on the one hand, knowing the Roonies are the Roonies and they're never going to fire a coach in the middle of a deal. I mean, it was unprecedented when they fired the terrible offensive coordinator. They don't like paying two coaches. I did feel like you either don't extend him and make him earn it this year, or you can't you can't straddle the fence. And it sounds like, from what I've read behind the scenes, that Tomlin is taking a hands-off approach with the offense, and that maybe some of his tendencies have been the reason the offense hasn't been as good. He seems like a very conservative offensive player. And hopefully if his hands are completely off the wheel and he lets his offense be his offense and Arthur Smith does his job, then we're in a different position. As people point out, if you want to get rid of Tomlin, who are you going to go get? And, I don't know. But they showed the list of all these coaches that have won playoff games since the last time Tomlin won coaches, and it looks like the back of that Cleveland jersey, where there's a lot of names on that list. Because it's been a minute for Tomlin. But again, it's like, the organization extended Big Ben probably at least 2 years longer than they should have. He should have never got that last extension. They never should have played him. Then they made desperate picks with Mason Rudolph and Pickett, and now they're where they are. Like, you're never going to win a playoff game or a Super Bowl without a quality quarterback, and they haven't had one in a while, and you can argue whose fault that is, but let's see what happens now, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you happy about the Tomlin extension?
I was surprised it was 3 years. I thought maybe it was going to be 2 years.
Okay.
So that surprised me. On a related note, I'm happy that all the Steeler draft picks are all under contract now.
Yes.
And usually it's the number one pick that's the last pick to sign. In this case, it was the second round pick.
Yeah.
Zach Frazier. And maybe, he was waiting to see what the first year guy got, the first round pick got, which is slotted. So, you knew what he was going to get.
Yeah.
But, I guess he was trying to get as close to first round money as he could.
Yeah, you can't blame him. It's a good call.
No. No.
If he plays the way he's projected to play, he'll get plenty of money moving forward. And if you're a good center in Pittsburgh, you're going to get more love as a center than probably in any other NFL city.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
Let's see, College World Series. All the bids are in except for one, and that's tonight. Is the Game 3? I think it's the North Carolina State series. The ACC's kind of dominated. It's been kind of interesting. ACC teams are in. Florida State's in. And then Florida's in, who's probably the biggest upset advance because they barely got in the tournament to begin with. And then they upset Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State, and now they just upset Clemson at Clemson. So they were unranked, or not in the top 20, and they beat 6 and 11. Oh. So they're in, and they look really, really good. Nice. So we'll see. College World Series starts on Thursday. It's one of my favorite sporting events, so I guess being in the hospital has something good to watch.
Yeah.
That and the end of the NBA Finals. So we'll see.
Yeah. We'll get into draft coverage. We have some people that are big on the NBA draft, despite the fact that it's not the most exciting draft, at least as far as name recognition going. But we have somebody coming up to talk about the draft in a couple weeks that is excited about the players in it, so that'll be fun to hear. Maybe I'll get excited too.
Yeah, it's a kind of an unknown, a draft of unknowns, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people push for Klingon to be number one pick because they're like, what he can do. He alters shots. He can move. Like, what else do you really need? He might be the.
Like we've kind of come back to the big man after having gone away from the big man for a while.
Yeah. It's odd, though, because when we technically went away from the big man, the biggest star in the league was 6'9", 270-pound LeBron James. The other big star was 7-foot-tall Kevin Durant. We went away from unskilled oafs that could play in the NBA because they were big. And
we went away from centers is what we went away from. Now we're going back to centers.
Yeah. But skill always is valuable, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't have.
We have to look at the centers that are dominating right now, and then you got Wemby coming up as a player to be reckoned with. You got to have an answer.
Yeah. And again, I love Wemby. I don't know if he stays healthy. I don't think there is an answer for him
No,
because he looks like
it's
an eighth grader
it'll
playing
be
with
fun to
kindergarten.
watch.
Yeah, I think so. TV time.
I'm trying to think what else we got. Oh, you had your fantasy draft.
Well,
Which seems to me drafting in June is kind of early, but
well,
so tell me about your draft.
well, we have a dynasty keeper league where you can keep all of your players every year. Like some dynasties, you only keep two. We keep all of our roster. And we have a taxi squad of 5 players that you can keep on a taxi squad for 2 years. You can't take them on and off the taxi squad, but if you draft a rookie this year, you can leave him on the taxi squad for up to 2 seasons before you have to do something with him. So we do it in June after the NFL draft because we're only really drafting rookies.
Okay.
Because, we already have, you're not going to get Jamar Chase or anybody else. But, so, yeah.
Are you going to have to drop players from your keeper from the league you have?
I did. I had to drop a couple of players because I had more normally you have 5 taxi squad players, so you can keep, you usually can keep almost your entire draft as on your taxi squad until you need them.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's usually at the end of the season, I'll drop my defense, my kicker, and my individual defensive player. And if I'm carrying a third, there's always dead weight on your roster. I think you can drop.
Sure.
And yeah, I'm excited for fantasy football. I can't wait. I've already paid my money. I'm ready to go. I think I might have.
My draft is the 3rd week in August.
Well, I have Anthony Richardson and Jordan Love, and I've never had a quarterback in the 6 years that we've had this league. I've had people that play the quarterback position, but I've just had ridiculously bad luck at the quarterback spot. So I feel pretty good this year. Knock on wood. But it's never too early to start prepping for your fantasy draft. And I can't stress enough how much fun Dynasty is because I have future first round picks that I can trade. I can trade future second round, future third round up to 3 years. So, it gets, you're a little more connected to your team and your players. And, you can trade your free agent budget away if you want. Include that in trades. It's pretty fun.
Cool.
I think the only bummer about fantasy in 2024, and it's been this way probably for like the last decade, I'm just being slow to upload it all, but because it's so popular and every sports site has a, rankings and it's, and even inside every app that you're playing fantasy football on, like it ranks players for you. So I feel like everybody, you're not going to know more than anybody else in the league at this point, unless they're just really lazy, right? Because back when I used to play with you as a kid and we had everything was done on paper. You could be in a league with somebody that, didn't know fantasy, didn't know football that well, and you could, take advantage of them. And now I feel like it's almost nearly impossible,
There's just too many sources you can read. Somebody sent me a fantasy football for dummies book the other day.
Yeah, like I said, it's just so popular, and the daily fantasy, like everything that it just everybody knows.
You can sit and watch shows on ESPN and they're devoted to fantasy football, and you can get a lot of information that way. You really don't have to know it yourself. You can just take other people's word for it and play and probably be competitive.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess our NFL moment. This will be our last story before we move on to other stuff. Did you read about the Packers and Eagles playing in Brazil for their opening weekend?
I did.
Do you want to tell people about it?
I think it's going to be really interesting to play in South America because they haven't had it before. And, it's not the safest place in the world.
No.
And so I've got some concerns about, a place where kidnapping is part of the gross national product.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. There's going to be a lot of security.
They sent.
What it's going to be like, but
yeah.
We'll have to see.
I assume hot. But they sent the Packers' main color is green, Eagles' main color is green, and they told the players don't wear green because that's the main color of the gang and that'll get you in trouble. And they mentioned, armed guards to move throughout the city. So it's going to be I'm excited to see how the fans react to the sport. as they're normally
Yeah.
used to football. They might be like, use your feet. It'll be fun. But I thought it was a little nuts. So,
Well, what to see?
yeah.
Interesting. What are we, about a month away? Well, no, we're more than a month.
Yeah,
We're about 6 weeks away from our first exhibition game.
we are. And we're starting to get to, we're almost getting ready to go to camp where we can actually see, like, the real battles. Because in shorts and pads, you know, with the Steelers and Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, like, we don't really know who's good. They both look great. Everybody looks great in shorts.
That's what Tomlin says.
Yeah. That is a Tomlinism.
Yeah.
And we have 3 more years of Tomlinisms.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, I started watching Dark Matter last night.
Okay.
I watched the first episode, and it's intriguing. I have no understanding of where it is or why, or I get some kind of innuendo. But, it was pretty hyped up on Apple, and we thought we'd take a shot. So we watched the first episode last night. We'll probably watch another 2 episodes tonight and have a lot better idea.
Okay. Well, we continued. We watched Love on the Spectrum Australia. So it was Love on the Spectrum, but with accents. And it was also very sweet and very enjoyable. Which is a very nice, sweet show.
And we finished the second year of Love on the Spectrum in the U.S., and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. If you haven't watched...
Thanks for exposing us to that.
Yeah, if you're out there and you haven't watched it yet, if you have Netflix, just put on an episode. If you have a heart, you'll enjoy it, I think, would be the easiest way to put it.
That's a good way of looking at it.
And I will say for once, normally if you have accents, I'm going to like it 10% more. I like the American version better.
Ah,
Yeah. I mean, just like with everything, there is an edit to it, so that you are following, certain people more than other people. And I thought they chose the wrong people to follow down under.
yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it. I think people should give it a shot. It's really, you'll have warm moments. You'll laugh. You'll get a tear. It's a nice show.
It really is. And other than that, if people want to give us suggestions, we are, in my household, we're kind of desperate for new TV. Something to really, really grab us. I don't know. We started watching the Wonder
We're
Years
surfing.
remake.
That's all. We're trying to find stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I have been watching The Gentleman on Netflix as well. It's the Guy Ritchie 8-episode show. And if you like Guy Ritchie, you'll like it. I mean, it's, gangsters being silly and over the top and talking and, crimes gone wrong. It's all the Guy Ritchie staples of, all of his other movies, but in an extended 8 episodes. So, it's not bad.
I'm enjoying my Stephen King book, the novellas and the short stories. So that's been pretty interesting.
Is there like a classic one yet, or you still just pretty good?
The novella, I think, is going to be a movie.
Okay.
Very well done.
Nice.
And I just bought The Watchers, which is the movie with Shyamalan's daughter as the director
Yeah.
and the writer, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
But the book is, I think the book is about 10 years old and is based in a lot of Irish folklore. So I'm looking forward to. I'm going to do that as an audiobook since I'm going to be in hospital.
Oh,
I'll do that as an audiobook.
I can't believe I didn't bring this up. I watched a great horror movie last night, Dad. I watched the first Omen. It's the 2024 Omen prequel.
Oh, okay.
It was excellent. You could tell the director understood not to get too in the weeds, but the way a shot is framed, the way they use colors, the way they do all those things have a great impact. And you get a lot of directors that simply don't understand that. I have 20 years in the business. I can attest to that. This person knew what they were doing, and it's really, really good. It's got a little rosemary.
What network was streaming up? Was that on?
It's free on Hulu. I don't know where else it's streaming.
Okay.
But it's You know, it's got the old school. It's a nice slow burn of like the Rosemary's Baby Exorcist kind of situation. Some nice lore behind it. It's really good.
I really liked the first element. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, we
The
watched.
one with Gregory Peck.
Yeah, and this is the prequel to that. This is them trying to find the mother to give birth to Damien, essentially. So,
Okay.
and
That's
it,
interesting. I'll have to give it a shot.
yeah, and it's got really good motivations as to why the people are doing what they're doing. Like it's really well done. Yeah,
Okay.
that's about it on my end.
You got any food?
Sadly, no.
I mean, I'm with you. I didn't get anything either.
I don't see that hat changing between now and this weekend. I have no plans to do anything exciting food wise.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to sign off. This is my last show for a couple of weeks till I go to the hospital. And you've got Fred coming in.
Fred and his son are coming in. His son's a giant NBA fan, and like I said, he's going to be able to talk draft and actually break down the players that I'm not quite familiar with. So I'm kind of excited for that. But we'll be holding it down so you're able to come back.
I figure I'll be back in 3 weeks.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. And see how it goes. But everyone, have a great, enjoy the rest of the NBA playoffs. And watch some College World Series. I can always tell you it's going to be really, really good. The catch of the day, or number one player on ESPN last night was from the College World, from the Super Regionals. It was a catch by a Clemson outfielder. It was awesome.
Nice.
I think it could end up being catch of the year when ESPN does the ESPYs.
Oh wow, that's pretty big.
It was that good. Yeah. It was like the Willie Mays catch from 1954 that they showed that, and then this was pretty close. Except the guy, he bobbled it. He hit his glove, he bobbled it, he held it against his chest, and hit the wall. Running, I mean, it was way over his head. I couldn't even believe he caught up to it.
Oh.
Really well done.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, have a great week.